I think so. Don't have to look too closely. I try not to.
Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Richard Wishart, and I'm at the Cambsnotspotter. So this is about the new launch of the Cambridge, and it's the Cambsnotspotter. So this is finding knot spots on the communication network, and Cambridge Ahead is launching this initiative today. I'm going to be periscoping it, which will be quite a challenge. Got some of the top people in Cambridge on the connected scene, so anybody interested in Wi-Fi, broadband connectivity, this is an interesting crowdsourced initiative in Cambridge. I'll be in the audience. I've got some friends from my business network, Huntingdonshire Business Network, who will be on the conversation side, and they will. Welcome everybody. We're just in the startup of an event to launch the Cambsnotspotter initiative. There's a number of speakers, quite eminent speakers around Cambridge, who will be who will be explaining things, and I'm just here with my Periscope, trying to get the message out. But what I'll do, let me just give you a quick look around the room. So if I just turn the camera around, and then I'll let you see. So we're in the Burkitt's office in Cambridge. The massed ranks of the press are arriving and getting set up. So it's this is it's become a bit of shakedown, I'm afraid, but become a Cambsnotspotter. So it should be an interesting Periscope. I haven't Periscoped for some time, although I've done about 100 broadcasts in all. So this should be an interesting day because I'm going to be getting back into it. So I hope you enjoy the exercise, and keep the comments going. We'll be managing an active stream, and I'll also be putting this up on video on YouTube afterwards as well. So hope you find it useful. So let's just do a little bit of.
Are you alright? Should we do the formal handshake? Yeah. See, we could have got you to start.
So just getting things set up here. Quite interesting. So trying to get the best. So welcome on board. I think you're the first person on the Periscope, Leomin. It's good to have you on board. This is the Cambsnotspotter launch, which is all about digital connectivity and using a crowdsourcing approach to get the message out in Cambridge and its surrounding areas. So I'm attempting to do a Periscope of the event, so I hope you find it useful. So here we go. So Faye, who's the organiser, is getting people rounded up now for the start of the event.
Good morning, everyone. welcome to the launch of Cambsnotspotter, a way that we're going to improve the mobile Wi-Fi and broadband connectivity across the region. So to get us started, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Jonathan Agar, who's CEO of Burkitt's, a Cambridge Head member and our host for today. Jonathan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to see so many of you here today. All the better for the weather and the backdrop really here. For us, this is a pretty new office, so fantastic to be able to use this as a way of launching what is a great new campaign. Our involvement as a business, as a legal business with a presence in a large range of offices across East Anglia, really is about connectivity. So for us, the idea of actually being able to map out where the hotspots and the not spots are is actually a really key initiative. Disruption to our services is significant when you can't connect with people, and we often find with a really mobile workforce now, the need to be able to have reliable infrastructure and reliable connectivity is a really important part of what allows our business to thrive and prosper. So for us, this initiative has really key resonance in actually trying to help our business go forward. And we're delighted to really be here to support the launch, be part of the campaign, and spread the word so that we can gather as much effective data as possible, so that this whole campaign can really take up some momentum and hopefully make a real difference. So it's lovely to see you all here, and welcome, and hopefully have a really good launch. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. You're next. So, David, we've asked just to talk about Cambridge Head and why Cambridge Head would be interested in running this kind of initiative.
So I want to thank Burkitt's as well for two things. Firstly, following me on Twitter, makes you an elite group, and the other thing for letting us have the use of your offices next door is Raspberry Pi, which is where we are. So that's very nice. This notion about connectivity has been bothering me for some time, and I, to be honest, been waiting for something like Cambridge Ahead to come along to actually take this and actually run with it. Cambridge Ahead is the right vehicle for doing this. Cambridge Ahead is looking ahead 20, 30 years. We're starting to think about some of the issues to do with growth in Cambridge, about transport, about education, about all forms of infrastructure. What kind of city do we want to be in? And connectivity, connection to broadband, whether it be mobile, whether it be fixed, however you do it in a kind of intermediate way, is absolutely essential for the modern economy and for a modern society. Without that, it's as real and as important as the buildings that sit around us, as the roads out there. So it forms a very important part of what Cambridge Ahead is here to do, to improve our quality of life, improve what the city will look like and our prosperity over the next 20 or 30 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. So, my introduction, I'm Faye Holland. I'm the chair of the Connecting Cambridge group within Cambridge Ahead. And this is the initiative that we're launching today to improve mobile Wi-Fi and broadband connectivity across the region. So, as David says, we're doing this because whether you're at work, you're at home, it's your social time, you're travelling to and from work, there's a whole transport infrastructure. Connectivity is absolutely key to all of us. So what we're trying to do with this activity is to crowdsource data. The only way we're going to really understand, as opposed to have opinions about data, is by collating real information from our residents, our businesses, our employees, our students and everyone else. So it's a totally inclusive activity. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a moment. The idea is that we collate as much data as possible, and then we produce heat maps of exactly what our connectivity layer is in Cambridge. From that, we can then start to make recommendations as to what we can do to improve that level of data and availability. The data we'll then take to the mobile operators, the network operators, and other groups to try and make the improvements, and if necessary to expedite or redirect those improvements. But obviously, first of all, we need the data. So how are we going to do that? There are basically 3 asks that we have of everybody who wants to get involved. We're going to talk about them with each of the participants in a moment in a little bit more detail. But very simply, the first one is to download an app on your mobile device, your smartphone, and the app is for OpenSignal, and that's going to help us to find out more about our mobile and our Wi-Fi usage and not spots. The second is we want to increase the level of Wi-Fi connectivity that there is in the region as well. So we're asking you to log in to certain networks within the centre of Cambridge, so we can really start to boost how that network is used. And the third is, at home or in your small business enterprise office, we want you to run a broadband speed test so we can actually see what level of connectivity you're getting. So throughout all of those activities, we're going to start to identify the not spots, hence the campaign is called Cambsnotspotters. We're looking for those areas of low or no connectivity. So we'll take all of that data, we're going to produce consolidated heat maps. This is an inclusive activity, it's an open source activity. So we want everyone who's participating in it to be able to see what we're actually going to do with that information. So we'll provide heat maps, we'll be able to show where there's good connectivity, where we're looking at improvements, or about what each of those different areas are. So first of all, I'd like to invite Sam Westwood, who's co-founder and COO of OpenSignal.
Thanks, Faith. So, hi everybody, I'm Sam from OpenSignal. OpenSignal are an independent provider of network performance data. So we have smartphone apps on Android and iPhone, which collect data on the mobile phone network. The phone analyzes the data, sends it to us, we analyze it, and we provide that data back to the public in form of the public maps and public reports that are on our website and with media. So together we're working with Cambridge Ahead to try and get as many users as we can in the Cambridge area to analyse the signal in Cambridge and to do an analysis on that. So how can you help? So firstly, kind of download the app. We're a free app. We're available on both the iPhone store and the Android store. With the Android app, all you need to do is open the app just once. With the Android app, we can run in the background. We can sample the network many times an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even better than just letting the app run is to run a speed test. So both the iPhone and the Android apps, you can run a speed test. So you just open it up and press go. It analyzes the network, it measures the network speed. But using that data gives us a much richer data set than just the fact that more users, 10 times more users, then we're going to have such an incredibly rich data set that we're going to really be able to see, kind of from the end user perspective, where these not spots are in Cambridge, where are the problem areas. And then what we're going to do with that data is publish that data, so it's going to be publicly available and you can see this data. We're also going to work with the mobile phone operators to analyse this data and see if we can try and close these gaps that we find all over Cambridge. So that's OpenSignal. I really want to encourage everyone to download the app, run some speed tests, and yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Sam. I was kind of joking earlier on, but it brings the inner geek out of everybody. It becomes really, really addictive. You know, I'll go through somewhere that I know is a not spot, and I'm straight onto the app trying to make sure that I'm loading that information. So it's a little bit addictive as well. So let's move on now to the second part. So first of all, there are two people. So John Holgate, first of all, who is going to talk from the university's perspective, and then straight afterwards, Noel Godfrey, who's going to talk from the Cam Wi-Fi Connecting Cambridge side. So John, thank you.
It felt like the inner geek was some sort of segue into the network guy from the university. So my name's John Holgate. I work at the University of Cambridge. I'm really here to, show our support for Cambsnotspotter. This is a really important campaign. At the university over the last few years, we've seen a real revolution in the way our users, so that's our academics, our researchers, our students, access their data. They're no longer tied to the desk, they're mobile. And they want to consume their resources and their data on the move. Now, we've had a fairly ambitious project ourselves to extend our wireless network across the campus. But in Cambridge, the campus is the city. So that's presented us with some fairly unique challenges. It's about extending the wireless network into the city, and we've had to collaborate with local partners, such as the local council, to do this. It's not only about geographically extending the network, but it's also about the accessibility of it. So what we're doing now is we're broadcasting, or have been for a while, free public Wi-Fi from key city centre locations, such as Parker's public network. We also broadcast what's known as EduRoam, an international wireless network, which is a collaboration of universities, academia across the world, where academics can move between universities and authenticate. We have 50,000 of our own users use our wireless network every single month. But what's more interesting is that we get 20,000 visitors to our network each month. That's 20,000 people in a typical month from 900 institutions from 6 continents globally coming to Cambridge, collaborating, accessing their data and accessing their resources. The city, like the university, competes on a global footing. And yet we're increasingly finding as data's more important, roaming's more important, mobility, that we're having to resolve international competition through local collaboration, through local partnerships. So Cambridge Ahead's really important for us. We can't resolve these issues on our own. So we want to encourage you to Cambsnotspotter. We want to support the campaign, and hopefully it will be a large contribution towards making Cambridge a hyper-connected city.
Great, thank you. Hello, I'm Noelle Godfrey, the Programme Director for Connecting Cambridgeshire. And as you know, several people have made the point already about how important digital technology is, how it underpins every aspect of our lives at the moment. The Connecting Cambridgeshire programme was set up in 2012 by collaboration of local councils led by Cambridgeshire County Council, and it was recognising that fact, recognising how important connectivity is at the moment, and also recognising that what we had in 2012 and what we still have today to some extent isn't good enough for now, and it's not good enough for the future. So we have multiple strands in this programme, looking at providing different forms of connectivity. Obviously, we welcome the focus on mobile connectivity that we've already heard about today, but also looking at public access Wi-Fi and at fixed broadband connectivity. As John mentioned, we've been collaborating to support public access Wi-Fi in Cambridge, but we also have been going further with a CAN Wi-Fi service, which is also public access Wi-Fi, which extends across Cambridgeshire in over 100 public buildings to date. On top of that, as I said, we've also been running a programme to support the delivery of fixed broadband. When we started the programme back in 2012, one of the first things we did was we surveyed the market and to establish that around a third of the county would not get superfast broadband without some kind of intervention. So the fixed broadband programme is rolling out the infrastructure to enable connectivity to those homes. We've already reached 100,000 premises, and we've got more to do. So we see the Notspotter campaign as integral to supporting and totally
Thank you, John and Noelle. So last but certainly not least, we have Andrew Ferguson, who is actually the official broadband doctor, talking to us about Think Broadband and the speed tests.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. What we really want you all to do is go to the www.thinkbroadband.com/Cambsnotspotter site and run the speed test. Not just once, but run it several times, both where you work, where you live, different rooms in your house, because that's actually quite important, because we all use Wi-Fi at home. We don't all sit around with links running to our laptops on our laps in the evening. So it's all about running a speed test, seeing how it behaves, and that information, as you provide your postcodes, will help to build up. So we'll see variations in postcodes. There's different times of day and stuff. The more data we have, the more information we'll get. And because one of the problems now is, and this applies really not just in Cambridge and Cambridgeshire, but across the whole country, the theory says 90% in Cambridge itself and 97% have superfast available to them. Talk to a lot of people, they say, there's no way is that number right. So this is why we want as many people as possible to run the speed test, so we can actually see, for those people who've bought superfast broadband or even have bought ultra-fast broadband, are they getting the speed that they're paying for, and also which parts of the city are getting the fast speeds, which bits are getting the slow. Already, with what we do day to day in our tracking, we can tell you that Cherry Hinton, the slowest 10% are around 4.5 megs, the fastest 10% are around 102 megs. But if you
thousands of users actually participating in whichever of these elements makes the most sense to them as well. So the idea is we're going to collate as much Cambridge Ahead. It came as a business need that employees out on the road or working from home all need connectivity. So I've asked Andy Smith, CIO of ARM, to come up and give us that perspective.
Great. Thank you. Good morning. My pleasure to be here to support the Notspotter initiative. I guess as ARM, with our architecture underpinning mobile technology around the world, It feels important to us. And ARM's vision is really very much about how we can drive opportunity in this kind of globally connected world. That's central to our business and what we do. My job is to run the IT at ARM, which is a challenging thing to do. It's about providing connectivity and capabilities to our workforce around the world. So I'm part of our HQ in Cambridge, and we have about 1,500 people based here. It's also about helping ARM to make the most of the data that we have. So I think some of the focus behind NotSpotter is very good about how we use data to drive action. What I'm also focused on is creating a fantastic environment for our employees to work in, to draw in the talent to Cambridge, by actually making it a great place to work. And part of that is about the connectivity that we can provide to the people who come here. I look after engineers. They're quite challenging. They're often keen to point out things I can do better with our IT. We'll let them loose on this app and we'll see what happens. But it's really, my job is to try and make them really productive wherever they work. And increasingly that's in a mobile way. That's the expectation in today's society. And we need to make that work really, really well in Cambridge. We move over the ARM network over 500 terabytes of data on a quarterly basis. And that needs to come from some kind of endpoint, whether that's mobile, over wireless, over broadband. That's a massive volume of data, and it's doubling at an alarming rate. So we really need to support that for our local people. We're proud of being in Cambridge. We love being part of the Cambridge ecosystem of companies, the technology sort of centre of excellence. But we need to make sure that the infrastructure keeps up. We need to make sure that there is excellent infrastructure for our people if we want to remain competitive. So we're delighted, again, with this initiative.
I think, I've said it a couple of times, this is an inclusive activity. It's an opportunity for Cambridge residents to really get behind this and actually make a difference. So who would be involved? Literally grandparents, parents, the children. It's everybody across the whole spectrum. So we've talked about businesses. There's networks in here that, so we have the Chamber of Commerce, CW, Cambridge Network. We have various networks that are already supporting this initiative and getting that message out to their members and in turn their employees. But it's not just about businesses. Some of our key Cambsnotspotters would be people that are out there that are our couriers, our lorry drivers, our train drivers, our bus, our taxi drivers, people that are out there mobile day in, day out can collect a large volume of data for us. We also have so many educational establishments all around the city and the villages beyond. And all of those children and students go to school, go to university on a coach, on a bus, on the parents' car, whatever it is. They're all Cambsnotspotters too. And even if you look at social clubs, you may be in the rowing group or the Ramblers Association. Literally everybody can be involved in this activity. And it's kind of a community-spirited thing. The more people that are involved, actually the more benefit it's going to achieve for everybody. So we encourage everybody to become a Cambsnotspotter. We have tried to make it as easy as possible. We've put a toolkit onto the Cambridge Ahead website that contains content that you can put in your company newsletters or your social media pushes. We've put posters in there, we've put flyers, logos, there's a whole host of content there. And you just need to go to cambridgeahead.co.uk/Cambsnotspotter to get all of that material. The other thing is, it is a crowdsourced activity, so we actually need to be telling you things as well. If you're providing us all of this data, we need to be coming back to you. So we have the hashtag of Cambsnotspotter that we'll be using on Twitter, and we also have a news section on the aforementioned website. On that, we'll be giving campaign updates, but we'll also be doing things like, where do we need more broadband speed tests? Where do we need more open signal users? Who have been our data heroes? Is there a certain region that we've had exponential growth of Cambsnotspotters? So we can start to feed all of that data back. So that is basically what the Cambsnotspotter campaign is. I hope it's something that you can all get behind and help us to promote. I'd like to obviously thank all of our speakers and Jonathan for hosting us today. I shouldn't forget that Jane Patterson-Todd, CEO of Cambridge Ahead, is also here with her own specific Cambridge Ahead questions to answer. And I would like to ask everyone to come and join me back up here to see if there are any questions. There's loads of us up here. There must be. Otherwise, we could just ask each now.
Is there any more coffee?
There's loads more coffee. And obviously, people are around for separate interviews afterwards, as needs be.
I've got a question. Probably to you, Sam. I'm Jane from Cambridge Ahead. How many people have actually sort of signed up on this? Because it's been running for some time, so I suppose to track where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, right. So we're a global app. We're already free to download, 18 million, I think, globally. But in Cambridge specifically, about 500 currently have the app now installed.
Right.
I'd say probably like several thousand have downloaded it over time. But as of right now, the kind of the baseline level is 500.
And as you know, one of the things that we're doing with the Cambridge Ahead members is we've gone out and provided an outreach, and companies like Arm and Zar, Horizon Discovery, Hill Property, what they're doing is they're getting their IT department to pre-install the app. So if that gets us a good percentage of the 36,000 employees within Cambridge Ahead, that starts to hit our target quite quickly. Hello, Bill.
Hello. So Cambridge is already pretty well served compared to many other parts of the country. What makes you think that the evidence base you'll accumulate will actually have an impact on decision makers in the telecoms companies?
Can I do that? Well, I think one of the things about Cambridge is, as the recent growth project has demonstrated, we are the fastest and most prosperous city in the United Kingdom, fastest growing. We're growing at over 7.3% a year. This is so far outside anything Treasury understands, or the government understands, and indeed probably a long way off the way in which a lot of people who are providing infrastructure here really understand. We need to draw attention to the fact that Cambridge is the most successful city in the United Kingdom, that the region surrounding Cambridge needs to be better served with infrastructure so that we can continue to grow. So I'm not saying this is at the expense of anybody else. It's just that Cambridge is astonishingly special. It is an amazing place. It is the forefront of everything that's happening in the UK, and we need an infrastructure to help us deliver on that over the next 20 or 30 years.
Can I just add a follow-on point from that, actually, that one thing we've noted with the broadband rollout to date is that Cambridgeshire has got one of the highest levels of take-up in the country for those intervention areas. And I think actually being able to demonstrate significant demand, showing that people in Cambridgeshire actually do appreciate what we can do with this is really important part of that.
Can I just follow up with Noel, because Noel and I have been, I don't know, 5 years working on all of this. The economics of broadband, the economics of mobile provision are very, very simple, right? If you double the number of people in an area, who are subscribing to broadband, you almost halve the cost of supplying each one of those customers, right? And that's very similar for mobile as it is for broadband. So the important thing here is to drive up demand. If we can drive up demand, we can make it much more cost effective for people to provide these services. So behind this is solid economics about the way in which we can get our hands on broadband.
Thank you. John, can I just go to Nicola? Sorry, first.
How many users do you need to sign up to actually have some meaningful data?
So on the mobile side, we already have